think our model is much beyond upcycling also. It is basically an effort where you are talking about dignity, and most important part of that is that they will. I think one of the debate which we have been having is that the person for whom all of us try to work, right from government to corporate to NGOs to social sector and activists and entrepreneurs. Often it happens that we don't make them a part of the process, the planning and the decision, and often it happens that we just impose the decisions on them, and maybe that is one of the reason of of we feel that the kind of success all of us put together should have got, we haven't got, because we have not used that as a source. That's number one. And number two, we have always treated money only as a currency. Although the fact remains, the skill itself is a currency, the labor is a currency, the material is a currency. So what we are trying to do is, in a way, we are really trying to create somewhere a parallel economy, or maybe just reviving the barter economy, but with two new currencies, which is material and labor. And in the time to come, and if other organizations or other ideas start replicating and copying our idea, they might come up with some more currencies. Why I am saying all this, because for us this is also a value system. This is basically the ethos of our work. This is basically when you say that dignity of the person who is at the so-called receiving end is most important. Although the fact remains that that person is not at the receiving end, because that person is also giving. That person is giving his or her wisdom, his or her labor. That's the most important part for us. And fine, I agree that money is important. We also need money to run the organization and the idea. But can we start treating other things also as currency? So the moment you start valuing local wisdom, local resources, I'm 100% sure that your impact will multiply. That's the whole idea. The concept of social enterprise or SSA concept needs more clarity, more advocacy, and we need to talk, write, read more about it. I think because unfortunately the people who are so-called financially poor, the people who are marginalized, have always been a last priority for a whole lot of people, whether it be the government or the business sector or the whole lot of other sectors. We can talk a lot about them, but I mean I 100% say that these people have been the last priority, and we can come up with a lot of schemes, but at the end of the day, how much is delivered there, that is an issue. So in terms of awareness and all, that is most important. And for us, to be honest, there is no mantra. There is nothing like very unique which happened. Only thing is that again I am coming back to the same thing, that we just valued people. We just didn't believe on our own wisdom only, or our own ideas. We took the country, we took millions and millions of people with whom we worked, uh, say now in 22 states of India. Uh, we just use that as a learning ground. We never claimed that we know how to dig a well. This is something which we learned from people for whom we were trying to work. And I strongly feel that that's just the worst possible missing link in such works across the globe. There are very few organizations, there are very few ideas who involve the people on the ground in looking at the problem, in planning, and in implementation. And then also sitting together and finding what didn't work and what worked, so that the replication becomes much easier. I think we have just worked on that. We have valued people a lot, we have valued wisdom a lot, and we tried to find solutions locally. And I think that has worked. Plus, also, one of the very important aspect which worked, we challenged the entire concept of charity, because publicly I always say in all my public speaking that show me any place in the world where the charity sustained and the development happened. These two things don't go together. So if you just keep treating people like charitable subject object, things will not be solved. If you talk about yourself as donor and someone at the last hand who is not wearing decent clothes, I mean, that's the only sign of visibility. I mean, only visible sign of poverty that way. And you treat that person as beneficiary, and it remains donor beneficiary, it can never be solved. Because then, unfortunately, just by giving some money or some time, you elevate yourself and put that person much below than what he or she is. So you actually increase the gap instead of filling that up. But the moment you take both these people, me, you, her, him, all of them, as the stakeholders, and say, let's do something where whatever I have, I need to bring in. So you have time, you bring in time. You have money, you bring in money. You have skill, you bring that. I have the germ or kida in my mind that I want to do something. I'll put that, the stake, and see how it happens. I mean, that's the actual collaboration. That's the actual, working together. So this is how, I mean, these are the basic practical approaches which we have taken, and fortunately, that's how it is grown. So the credit ultimately goes to the public. So it is not to us. I think at Goonj we don't do projects. Okay, Goonj is literally like a movement, and because we always believed that we don't want to grow as an organization, we want to grow as an idea. Also trying to work on migration and health and sanitation issues, because we were the first people in India to talk about menstrual hygiene in such a way, and then came up with a big solution also, which is a piece of cloth. I mean, although I think that needs to multiply at least 100,000 times to get some results, but at least it has started, and people have started talking about it. So I think all those things we're doing. Only thing is that people took a lot of time to understand that, and even today thousands of people do not understand that, because people can imagine only charity with the second-hand material. They can never understand that you can really dig a well or make a bridge, and people can be paid in kind. So that's a small bottleneck. I think it's important that if academia, if the doctors, the PhDs understand our work, and I think that way the replication will be much easier. So for us, the current project for the next maybe couple of years, apart from the practical work, whatever is happening, is also to make sure that our work is understood in the right way, and it is documented in a very practical way, so that other countries, other people, other group of people or organizations can just pick up, copy, replicate. I mean, in my recent Maxis's speech, I had actually said that we are giving you a copyright to copy our ideas. So we want to make it so open source. If it has worked well in India, I'm 100% sure that it can work in many, many other countries. If small corrections or additions can be made as per the local need. I mean, that is always needed. Even in India, when we implement in one state after, say, doing something in one particular state, we tweak the model, we change it as per the local needs. Similarly, it can be replicated across the globe if it is well documented, if people understand that this is how the model has worked, and if model has worked in a lab called India, where you have such diversification in terms of caste, community, economic status, geography and all, I'm sure it can work anywhere. So that's the next project, if you see. So, worldwide it's also a very misused, abused word. Social enterprise has also become a very fashionable subject right now. You have seen many hardcore business people, profit making people entering into this field calling themselves social enterprise. So I think it's very important that people who are coming in this field under the banner of social enterprise and all, they need to be honest about it, that whether they really want to make profits in money or they want to make profit and pass it on as it is to the people, do something good. So people who have already entered with good and bad intention, that's that. But my advice, even in India and many other forums, I always tell people that if you are really entering now in this sector, in this field, be honest to yourself. I mean, that's how you will be honest to the larger part of the world. Uh, and it is one of the best way to operate, because this is something which does not operate like a typical charity organization, where people treat someone as donor and beneficiary, as I said. The social enterprise model is the best model, and the only definition for me of social enterprise is that there is no donor, there is no beneficiary, everyone is a stakeholder. So it's the best model really to work, and it's the best model to develop.